Hey guys, welcome back to the shop. So next up is going to be kind of an exciting build. We're going to do another bench, kind of like my Rubo back here, but this is actually for a viewer and somebody that I met online that has asked for a little bit of help building their forever bench, and it was such an exciting project. I decided to jump on board. So to start, we've had lots of conversations around features and details and all that kind of sort of stuff that he wants. So rather than go through all those conversations with you, I'm going to show you the three benches that I have in here and some of the features on them, and then I'll let you know what he decided on, and we'll talk about all that stuff. I'm going to try to keep this talky stuff as short as possible. But it's important that we go over the features and details on these benches a little in detail to help drive those decisions on what you might want on your bench. So I'll start with the bench that my son and I built a few years ago. It's currently sitting in my wife's quilting room, so apologies for the lighting in here. This really wasn't designed for filming. But this is a split top design with a solid maple top. It has a poplar base, which we painted, and then the drawer fronts and stuff were actually scrap cherry that was in the shop and donated to the project. It's on casters, and this was considered a budget-friendly build. I think we were at about $1,400 for this one, but this one has very inexpensive hardware on it, so the bulk of that money was spent on the material, such as the solid maple top. Now this solid maple top has round dog holes in it. The whole bench is up on casters, so it can be moved easily, but when it's down, this is a super heavy and sturdy bench. But the hardware on this is a lot less expensive than you would have in a normal bench. There was a very inexpensive, I think this front vise was ordered from Grizzly, and it has a Veritas tail vise, which is in line with the dog holes. But this bench was designed with wide enough legs and the flat face here that if he ever wanted to retrofit a leg vise on here, this bench is all set up to put that on, which would be a serious upgrade to this bench, especially in this front vise location. Now the downside on that end is we didn't leave enough of an overhang to go to a more traditional tail vise option if he ever wanted to change that Veritas vise out. And that was done for space reasons where he was living at the time. But a very solid bench, very decent introductory price, with a lot of really good work holding stuff. So although this is my outfeed table, really in every way, shape, and form it is a bench, and it was built as a primary work location when I built this piece. It has a split top design, which I really like. It tends to get used more now for getting out of the way and having a track for my track saw blade, but I can still raise it up and use it as a planing stop if I want to, and I can still store tools in here. This particular one has a bench crafted leg vise, which I'm a huge fan of the bench crafted leg vises. It has round dog holes, which work every bit as good as the square ones. This particular one has an H&T Gordon tail vise, which is a very nice little tail vise, and I think it's a little step up from the Veritas tail vise, but it's still a very quick install and doesn't require a lot of real estate to do it. The top on this one is actually about 3 inches, but I've added the aprons all around this for more support. This bench is super heavy, and this one is not on casters because it stays in this location in my shop. And I wouldn't even want to hazard a guess at what this weighs, but it's a lot. Construction on this was mostly domino, the big dominoes. And the whole thing is maple, with the exception of the walnut accent pieces that are on this. But this has been a workhorse for me for many years, and it has a lot of features that I really, really like and use every day. And last up in my shop is this more traditional version of a split top Roubo. Yes, it still has the split top. This one is all bench crafted hardware, both with the leg vise as well as the tail vise. This one has square dog holes as well as round dog holes, so I can use either. But on this bench, I traditionally use the square dog holes. And it has storage down underneath. Now the storage on this was left very low, and probably lower than it needs to be. When you're using the hold fast, that low storage, you need to have this distance here. So you can see I could have gotten away with a little more storage in this bench, but it's still been a workhorse for me. The base on this, believe it or not, is actually clear hemlock, and at the time that I built this bench, I just had a whole lot of it around. The top on this one is big leaf maple, and this one is also on casters. So a lot of times in project, I can lift this one up and roll it anywhere in the shop that I need to get full use out of it. But this has been a great bench, and this is probably the oldest bench in my shop. This one is really getting some years on it, and I really have not done anything to it. So again, just another really great bench. It's super heavy for doing hand tool work, and it's been a dream to have in the shop. So what are we building this time? A little bit more of a traditional Roubo. He's asked for a little bit extra depth on his bench, so we're going to do that. He has ordered the bench crafted leg vise, as well as he's ordered an Andy Klein vise to use in the tail vise position, the 14-inch version. So that front slab on his bench will be 14 inches, which is a little wider than traditional, and I'm not sure what the back slab is going to be yet. We'll see, exactly what his wants and needs are when we get there. It will be a solid maple top. It will be round dog holes, and it will be an African mahogany base. A combination between, he bought some materials and I had some stuff sitting around here that wasn't being used, so I was able to cut his cost down a little bit. But that's what this bench is going to be, and it should look really classy. So what you can't see over in this side of my shop is all the material is here for that bench. Now, he won't be here, Jeff won't be here for another couple of days, and then we're going to get going on all of this milling and building the top, and we'll see how far we get in this first video. I will leave the videos a little extra long, so to cut down on the number of videos, but there's a lot of work that goes into building a bench like this. We'll have to do it in a couple of sessions. Jeff lives a couple hours from me, so he'll be traveling here to the shop and spending about 3 days at a shot, and we're going to go after as much as we can get done. So let me get Jeff here and get him set up and settled in, and we'll get going on milling some maple and getting ready to set up for the top. All right, guys, so there's Jeff's front and back slab. So this bench is a little bit different because of that tail vise in the room that we needed. This front slab is just, it's massive. We'll have to do it in two, even with my equipment, and then we'll put it together with the domino. And the back slab is much narrower. And we sprayed this down with water and spent some time doing some grain matching. And I think if you stick around to the very end of this video, you'll see how that time really paid off. What we used about an hour and a half.
Yeah, it was time well spent.
So it was really cool. There's really some cool grain matching going on in here. This center divider that we just have set in here for now is actually out of my Workbench, just so we get the depths and the sizes that we actually need. Milling wise, we were pretty close to about 6 hours in milling, and then another hour and a half in getting everything where we want it. Next up, we're going to glue up the back slab because we can get that into clamps today and get that out of our way. And then we need to go ahead and locate the dog holes in the front slab, and we need to get all those cut in as well. Like I said, this front slab will be in two, and then we'll put it together later just so that it fits through my planer and we don't have to do a whole bunch of sanding or build a router sled or anything like that. So that's what's up next. We're going to glue up the back slab and then start cutting dog holes. All right, guys, so there's the front and the rear slab. Pretty much done. We just got to trim them to length today. And again, we're going to build this tool stop today and hopefully get a base on it. So yeah, on to day two. Let's just tip it forward a little bit. All right, so there's what we came up with for the divider. The outside rails are just a little shy of 3/4, and then the insides are about 5/8, give us an overall of about 2 inches, which is what you need to get the clamp through the middle, which is what we're shooting for. Everything's still rough to length, just clamped up, but next up, we're gonna go ahead and glue this and get everything pin nailed in place and set this aside to cure and move on to the base. So there you go, guys. All the parts are just roughed out for the base. Like I said, all in African mahogany. And like I've done in so many videos, we made some rough templates. So we could kind of go pick some grain that we like to match up on the bench. Probably an overkill for a bench, but if you can, why not? So Next up is just going to be a long bit of milling, so I'm not going to put that on camera. You see up front the tool stop is pretty much done. I think we got one more little decorative thing we're going to do to that, but for the most part it's done. So get all these milling, and then hopefully later today we'll get after some joinery and start getting a base together. Hey guys, apologies for the audio. So to explain what's going on here is right there, Jeff is undercutting the corner on the tenon for the base. He's using a little pull saw to do that. And once he gets all those fibers, broke loose the way that he wants them, he'll come back with a chisel and he will cut those down in the bottom. And then he will grab the rasp and use that to just round over the tenon in the top to kind of match the chisel work that he did in the bottom. And this ensures that he doesn't mess up the shoulder on that leg. And of course, meanwhile, me there in the background, I am routing out the mortise for this particular tenon. Now, I really wish that I would have captured this audio because it was actually really cool. Jeff had some really nice things to say about his experience both in the shop and with this bench. This is going to be a really cool bench. Down there on the lower left-hand side, you can see that front leg there is all set up for the bench-crafted hardware. And you see the extended length on the top of the bench. That is all set up for the Andy Klein. It will be the 14-inch tail vise. It's not really a tail vise, but in this case, we're going to use it as a tail vise with the dual dog holes in the top. This should be really a really cool bench. We've still got the storage to do in the bottom. And we'll do that in the next video. We also have the finish to do. So there's still lots of details to do, but it's going to be a couple of months before I get home from work and Jeff can get back to the shop and we finish this bench up. But this is a super cool bench. So until next time, guys, take care.